So, welcome to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Mitthyl, a pod made exclusively for solopreneurs, artists, and coaches who want to build their digital empire. With 15 years of business experience, I cover topics on personal branding, content creation, and digital marketing on this show and invite many experts who share the same passion like mine. Today, we have a brilliant guest on our show, and we're going to go more deeper into understanding the various marketing fundamentals and why are they important. So, let's welcome him onto the show.
You are listening to the Digital Maddie Show with Digital Mitthyl.
So, welcome everyone once again to the Digital Maddie Show. And as promised to all of you, we have a brilliant guest, and his name is Tim Fitzpatrick. And let me introduce him to all of you. So, Tim is basically an entrepreneur with an expertise in marketing and business growth. He has 20 plus years of entrepreneur experience with a passion for developing and growing business. Now, that passion served him well in operating and managing a wholesale distribution company he owned for 9 years. The company grew an average of 60% a year before being acquired in 2005. Since then, he had failures and successes that have been valuable learning experiences. He started Rialto Marketing in 2013 and has been helping service businesses simplify marketing so they can grow with less stress. Most people overcomplicate marketing, and I definitely know about it, but it doesn't have to be that way. So, welcome Tim to our show.
Mitthyl, thanks so much for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Same here. So, Tim, all the people who are listening to this episode, can you share your backstory with us?
Sure. So you touched on it a little bit there in the intro, but I was not one of those kids that was like entrepreneurial at 8 or 10 or whatever age it was. All I cared about at that point was hanging out with my friends and riding my bike and having a good time. But when going to college was never a question in my mind. I was always going to do that. I was a math major in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I figured math was something good to know, that it's applied in all kinds of different disciplines. And my dad had been an entrepreneur for a long time. He was a manufacturer's rep. A couple of years before I graduated, he had started a wholesale distribution company. So when I graduated, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew he had no full-time employees in the distribution company at this point. And I said, "Hey, Dad, look, let me work for you for 3 months. It'll help you. It'll help me kind of give me some time to figure out what I want to do." And he said, "Sure." So I was the first full-time employee in the distribution company. I was shipping, receiving, selling, accounts payable, accounts receivable, right? Operations, all of that. And after 3 months, I was hooked. I was like, man, this is awesome. I love this. And so I asked him, I said, "Look, I would love to keep doing this, if you'll have me." And he said, "Absolutely." So that's how I got started. It was pure nepotism. But it worked really well for me because my dad gave me a lot of autonomy. He trusted me. I ran the distribution company on a day-to-day basis. I worked with him from a strategic perspective. So he let me kind of run and do my thing. And I learned so much doing that. It was like an on-the-job MBA. And as you touched on, we grew about 60% a year for 9 years. We sold the company, stayed on with the company for another 3 years. And then I actually got laid off from the company that bought us. This was in 2009. We all know what happened in the US in 2008, 2009. The company that bought us was a public company, and they started freaking out. And in 2009, they closed like 30% of the branch locations we had across the US, and I got downsized. So at that point, all I had known from a professional standpoint was distribution, but I had always been interested in real estate. And so I decided to get into residential real estate as a realtor. So this was early 2010 at this point. Most people are like, "Oh my God, 2010 in real estate in the US." But there's opportunities in every market. And so I started knocking on people's doors that were about to go into foreclosure to try and help work with the bank, sell their house for less than what it was worth, which is a short sale. I learned a ton doing that, Mitthyl, but man, I got to a point after like two and a half, 3 years where I was waking up and I'm like, I can't stand this. Like, what am I doing? And why own a business if you can't stand going to work every day? So I decided to shift gears again. And that's when I got into marketing, which is what I'm doing now. My path has not been a straight road. It's been winding, like most of us, but that's the Cliff Note version.
Wow. I am super impressed. And somewhere, Tim, even my story is a little bit like, similar like yours. So also joined the entrepreneur journey after 2009. That is the subprime effect, which had on US. So it globally affected everyone. And even I was laid off from my company. And that's how slowly and steadily understood that always wanted to be an entrepreneur rather than being an employee. So I can totally relate with you. And in fact, many of our listeners will also relate with you. Absolutely. So Tim, since you say that, you now have a lot of background about marketing. So what are the marketing fundamentals and why do you think that they are so important?
So Mitthyl, what I find with marketing is there are a lot of people just battling information overload. And as a result, they just don't know what that next right step should be to help them get from where they are to where they want to go. When I was in distribution, man, websites were informational brochures. Google was just kind of getting going. I mean, it was so much different. I'm not going to say it was easy then. I don't think it's ever easy. There is work. But when you're battling information overload, it is so difficult to figure out what you need to do. And what inevitably ends up happening is people just start like taking action. They're throwing marketing tactics against the wall like spaghetti, hoping something's going to stick. And when it doesn't work, they have no idea why. Well, the fundamentals in any discipline, I don't care what they are, what it is, they do not change. They're immutable. Standing up and hitting a fastball, the fundamentals of doing that are the same today as they were 50 years ago, and they're going to be the same 50 years from now. Marketing is no different. But what a lot of people do, because there's so much information, they just want to take action. They inevitably skip aspects of the fundamentals. And when the fundamentals are not in place, you're building a house without a foundation, which, hey, houses without foundations do stay up for a period of time, but they cannot withstand the test of time. And so what people do when they skip the fundamentals, and it's not their fault, right? There's so many gurus going, oh, you need to be on Clubhouse, or you need to do TikTok or this or that. It's not so much the tactics that are important. It's the fuel that you put behind the tactics. So the fundamentals are the fuel. If you jump in immediately to tactics, you have a car with no gas. You might be able to push it down the road a little bit, but at some point you're going to get tired and you're going to hit a wall and it ain't going to work anymore. We have to have the fundamentals. What are they? I call them the marketing strategy trilogy. First, your target market. And within your target market, who are your ideal clients? Not every business or person in a given target market is going to be an ideal client. You have to know who those people are. Once you know who those people are, and you understand the conversation that is going on in their head as it relates to what you do, then and only then can you nail the second fundamental, which is your messaging, which is how you communicate what you do and the value that you provide. That messaging needs to be in your prospect's words, not your own. But you can't do that until you understand first who you're going to try to attract. And then the third fundamental is once you have that target market and your ideal clients in place and you have great messaging that's going to gain their attention and their interest, then you have to have a plan of how you're going to get that message in front of those people. A lot of people don't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, everything looks like an opportunity. You're like a squirrel chasing a nut. So when the newest thing comes out, you're like, oh, looks good. Let me go chase it. You're never going to gain traction doing that. So we have to have a plan. The other benefit in having a plan is plans outline our priorities. When we know what our priorities are, we have clarity. And when we have clarity, what happens to our stress? It goes down because we know exactly what we can do. We eliminate the noise and the distraction and we know exactly what we need to focus on. So those are the fundamentals and why they're important.
Wow, this foundation and this fundamentals are really the core of your marketing plan, your execution, your branding, and many things else. So yes, absolutely, bang on that, Tim, that these are the ones which are actually to be focused on. Rest of the people majorly don't focus on the fundamentals, and that's why they keep on struggling as a brand. Brilliant.
Yep.
But there's one thing that I would like to ask Tim is, like, when any of the entrepreneur begin, most people do not have these ideas or these fundamentals in place, or not everyone has been into the B schools or been as an MBA. So similar like others, I'm sure that even you must have gone through the same. So what's the biggest mistake that you have made as an entrepreneur?
Oh man, Mitthyl, I've made a lot of them. I make them every day. I would say the biggest one that comes to mind for me is not asking for help. Early on, I felt like asking for help was a weakness. It's really not. It's the exact opposite. It shows strength and confidence when you can say, hey, I don't have the answer, I need help, and you go out and seek it. But early on, I was not good at that. I'm not going to tell you that I'm perfect at it today, because I'm not, but I am much, much better. Most of us are not forging new paths on our entrepreneurial journey. It's not like we're starting a new industry from the ground up. And if that's the case, the frameworks, the systems, the methodologies, whatever you want to call them, for us to be successful, they're already there. Other people have already gone down this path. We just have to have the foresight to say, you know what? I need to find these people, and I need to take what they're doing and use it for myself. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. I have reinvented the wheel and gone down paths, hit the wall, and gone back to the beginning many times. We don't need to do that. If we want to get to where we want to go faster and avoid a lot of the mistakes that people before us have already made, we need to ask for help and find those systems and those frameworks that we know other people have used to be successful.
In fact, Tim, what you said, the biggest mistake that you have done is not asking or being reluctant to ask for help. There is a beautiful quote in Bible which is there in front of me, and I keep it always in front of me, is ask and it shall be given. And that is one thing that goes so deep in me that irrespective of, it's okay to be fooled for 5 minutes by not asking, but it's rather than being fooled for the rest of the life. So yes, yep. Bang on. This is a very crucial thing. As an entrepreneur, many a times we are solopreneurs and we think like, to whom should we go and ask? Like in an organization, we have many team members we can go and ask, but over here, whom to connect to? And very rightly said, and I had seen a recent video that you had posted on your YouTube channel also, talking about how crucial asking for help is all about. So kudos for that. So Tim, now since I understood the marketing fundamentals and also the biggest mistake that you did, so now I would like to know, because now I'm hungry for more information, is how do I create a marketing plan that actually works?
So Mitthyl, the way I view marketing planning is in 90-day sprints. A lot of people look at planning from a yearly perspective, and I think a year is far too long. There's too much changing. The market is dynamic. Our businesses are dynamic. And when we look at planning from a yearly perspective, I think it can get overwhelming and complicated very quickly. And when we make things complex, it is the enemy of results. So we need to keep things simple, which is why I look at 90 days. 90 days is long enough to start seeing traction, but it's short enough where we can look and go, hey, are we seeing traction? Are we not? What course corrections do we need to make? And we can make those course corrections and then wash, rinse, and repeat. So I'm going to share with you, Mitthyl, and your audience, a 6-step marketing plan. Okay, this is a 1-2-page sheet. Okay, this is how simple.
Super excited.
So first element of this 6-step plan is your target market. I want to see a minimum of a paragraph of your 1 to 3 ideal clients in your target market. Who are they? What do they look like? The demographics, their psychographics, like what are they feeling? What are problems, results they're looking for? All that stuff. You should not have more than 3 ideal client types. If you do, you're spreading yourself too thin, you're diluting your focus. We need to focus our marketing efforts. When I say 1 to 3 ideal clients, I'm not saying those are the only people you're going to work with. What I am saying is those are the only people you are going to focus your marketing efforts on. We have to narrow our focus. If you have a paragraph on your 1 to 3 ideal clients, you are like ahead of 90% of people, because most people do not have this written down. But everything from marketing starts with target market, like I touched on before, which is why it is the first step. Second step is your marketing goal. What is your 90-day goal? It's going to be time bound because it's a 90-day plan, but it needs to be specific. It needs to be measurable. Usually this goal is going to be something that's going to help you get 1 step closer to your longer term goals. Maybe this is, I intend to bring on 5 new clients in the next 90 days, something like that. The thing I like to tell people with a goal like this, the way it was described to me was, this is an outcome-based goal. With an outcome-based goal, there are a lot of things that are beyond your control that may impact your ability to hit that. For example, the pandemic, right? How many people were rocking and rolling in early 2020 and the pandemic hit and their businesses came to a screeching halt? Like, you could have done everything possible, but that outside force got in the way. So it's important to know where we intend to go. But if you are so attached to that you don't hit it, that it just throws you off the rails, that's not a good thing either. So I just like to bring that up so people keep that in mind. I like to know where I'm going, but then I want to focus on the actions I can take that are going to help me get there. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Your third step is your budget and your resources. This gives you an idea of how much what you have to work with. We can't put things in our plan until we know what we have to work with. Do I have $500 a month or $50,000 a month? Is it just me? Do I have staff that can do some of the implementation? All of those things are going to impact what we put in our plan, which is why it is such a crucial step. The other thing, it's not just staff time, it's also staff capability. Do they have the skills to do what you want them to do? If they don't, then don't assign it to them, right? Or level up their skills so that they can. But if we give people the wrong tasks, they're not going to implement well. So we need to keep that in mind in this third step as well. The fourth step is your current marketing plan. And Mitthyl, when I say this, I know a lot of people may not have a plan, but all we're doing here is outlining where we're starting from. We're getting a baseline. I can't figure out what I need to do to get to where I want to go until I know where I'm starting from. It's like my GPS. Say I want to go to the airport, it's going to say, well, I can't tell you how the hell you need to get there until you tell me where you're starting from. Same exact concept here. So in this step, I just want you to write down what you've done, what's in place, and what you continue to do on a regular basis with your marketing. Then fifth step is what am I going to do for the next 90 days? This is where you're outlining your priorities. Super important, because now you know what your priorities are, so that when, some other marketing guru, the next great one, says you need to do this, you have the confidence and the discipline to say, maybe later, but not right now, because these are my priorities. Okay. And by the way, there is nothing going on in marketing that you can't wait 90 days before you look at it. Okay. Stuff is not moving or changing that fast. So if that's a monkey on your back, get it off. Sixth step, metrics. The metrics are what you're going to measure that's going to tell you whether what you're doing is actually working or not. A lot of people don't know whether their marketing's working because they haven't defined what metrics they need to track that are going to tell them that. If you're not tracking any metrics, here's 3 metrics. Best place to start. 1 is leads. How many leads are you generating each month? You need to determine what threshold a lead needs to reach to become a lead, right? So for example, in my business, if somebody signs up for our email list, that is not a lead. somebody becomes a lead for my business when they raise their hand and they say, hey, I would like to get a free consultation with you. I want to talk to you. That's the threshold. We have to track how many leads we're getting. Third or second is lead source. Where are the leads coming from? When we know where the leads are coming from, that's starting to inform us what we're doing from a marketing perspective that's actually working. And then the third one is how many of those leads are converting to customers. That's your conversion rate. When you know what that conversion rate is, now you know, hey, I want to bring on 5 new customers, and it takes me 3 leads to get a new customer. I need 15 leads. That's super empowering. Now, I was a math major. There's tons of marketing metrics. You can go into the weeds on this. Start with those 3. Then we can start to branch out from there to some other really important metrics. But if you're not tracking much of anything now, those are the 3 best places to start. That's the 6 steps. I know I just hit you and your audience with a lot of info, but I tried to keep that as simple as possible.
This was really great. And in fact, it was so simple. If a serious entrepreneur who's listening to this episode or even watching this episode on YouTube, they would be able to get the complete gist of it, and if followed in the right way. And the way you said the 3 most important thing to focus on at the very initial stage, I think that's the most basic, yet we need to have that as the primary thing whenever you're starting a business, because lead generation is the starting step of the funnel. And if we do it in the right way, the source, the total number of leads coming, and also the demographics, I think it will be very clear later on to replicate and do the compounding effect of the same concept. Thanks, Tim, for making it very simple. So Tim, now we come to the end of the phase 1, and in the phase 2, what I do is I love to take, it's called as a rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you won't get time to think about it. So are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be, Mitthyl.
Awesome. Awesome. So Tim, what is the one thing that you would like to put it on your bucket list in 2022?
2022, I want to go on vacation, and I want to sit down and eat in a restaurant, which I have done rarely throughout the pandemic.
Awesome. All right. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Oh man, that's a great question. I would say Batman, because he doesn't actually have any superpowers, right? He is a regular person that has become this superhero. So I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Tim, there is one superpower that Batman has and was revealed to Flash, and that is he is rich.
Yeah, true. Okay, so he's got money. So he had the money to invest and become this superhero.
Absolutely. Awesome. So who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Oh boy. The first one that is coming to mind is Calvin and Hobbes. And why? I used to sit down and read that comic strip in the newspaper every morning as a kid, and it always made me smile. So you're going to get through this life. You got to be able to smile and laugh. Absolutely.
Same here. All right. This is very amazing. So if a movie was made on your life, what genre would it be and who would play you?
Okay. What genre? I would say, I want to say action, but that's probably giving myself too much credit. It would probably be more like a drama. And I would say I would like it to be Matt Damon, but I have had people tell me that I look a little bit like Paul Rudd. So I don't, who knows? One of those 2 guys.
I was looking at Tom Cruise.
Okay, so you know what? So there was a woman. One time I was shopping with my wife for furniture, and the woman in there told me I looked like Tom Cruise, but I didn't believe her because I thought she was just saying that because she wanted me to buy something. So,
all right. So Tim, we come to the last question. So who do you admire the most?
Oh boy, I admire a lot of people, but The first one that comes to mind is my dad. I worked with him for well over 10 years, and it was just an amazing experience. I saw a different side of my dad than I did growing up, and it was really it was an amazing experience to see that side of him, and the type of person he was, not only personally but professionally.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Tim, for participating in the rapid fire round and being very honest and enjoying the entire 5 questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. That was fun.
Cool. So Tim, all the people who are listening to this particular episode, if they want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Best place, Mitthyl, is our website, rialtomarketing.com. That's RIALTO marketing.com. Put out a ton of content. All that's there. Links to all our social is there. It's the best place to start. The other thing that I want to make available to your audience is at growthmarketingplan.com. That's growthmarketingplan.com. At that link, they will find our 90-day marketing plan kit. So really just piggybacks off of what we just talked about. All the downloads, the tools for you to create your first 90-day marketing plan are there. There's a video that walks you through it. There's sample templates, sample plans there. The 90-day plan template we use is there. And there's also a marketing evolution index checklist, which is really a checklist of, hey, in phase 1, 2, and 3 of your business, in these marketing channels, what should you have in place? So it's a great checklist for people to just run through and go, hey, where am I at? So if they go there, they can get that for free and take advantage of that.
Wow. So all the people, the links are available in the description. Do check it out and grab this opportunity. Only if you're serious. Super cool. So Tim, since we have come to the end of this episode, I don't want to end this episode, but what we say, we have limitations too. So before we end this particular episode, what message would you like to share with our audience?
Oh boy. So I share this a lot just because I have found it really helpful on my journey. It is very easy to become overwhelmed as an entrepreneur. There's so many different things that we're doing. And one of my mentors said to me, focus on the next measurable step. When we can take all these huge and just break them down to what's the next step I need to take to help me get where I want to go. And it's measurable so that I know that I've reached it. And then when I hit that, I just focus on the next measurable step after that. Things become so much less overwhelming. You know where you need to focus. And it's just a small step. It's not a huge one. It's not a marathon. It's just what's the next small step. So that's helped me. I hope it helps people that are listening.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim, for taking out your valuable time and giving so much beautiful insights and, almost like you're giving the entire blueprint of how to create an amazing marketing plan that actually works. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Mitthyl. Thank you.
Awesome. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddie Show with your host, Mitthyl. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on the podcast channels, wherever you are listening, or also if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button so that you can get to know more other experts also. This is Mitthyl signing off with Tim at the moment. Until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their exciting stories. But until then, keep rocking, stay safe, and don't forget to keep creating. Ciao.